Hey, I'm Chad Millman from the Action Network. This is the Favorites, the Film Room. This is our YouTube-only video between me and my co-host from the Favorites podcast, professional bettor Simon Hunter. And this is the clip, the video where Simon and I take our favorite plays from the previous weekend, and we look at them to say, how do they impact what we were doing on Sunday, but also what do they make us think about moving forward, the bets we want to make, not just this Sunday, but into the future. Simon, as you know, this is my favorite thing we are doing. I love our podcast. I love everything we do, but we're going to take 10 minutes right now and just geek out on some football and tell everyone how it's impacting our thinking as bettors as well. And it just makes me happy. It almost relaxes me. So you go first. Take us through the play you want to talk about.
Yeah, I don't mind doing this at all, Chad. This is basically what I do every Monday alone in a dark room. So happy to put it on.
Well, now
film
you
for
have
people.
friends to do it with.
And apparently people love the breakdown of Purdy. So I thought this week I'd go with another quarterback with us and another unknown quarterback in Sam Howell. So we'll pull it up here. This is when they're playing Denver. They're down at this point. This is to tie the game up. Sam Howell. This is what I'm looking for in these young quarterbacks. This is this kid's first road start. You can see here, we can roll the tape. They have a player in motion, and it's kind of one of these where it's going to be like a run pass option, right? That's what a lot of these offenses are running now. So you see he fakes it, pulls it back in. I love, like right there, you saw what something I'm looking for. It's his movement in the pocket. He kept his body downfield, his eyes downfield. You saw he looked to the left where when we skip ahead, his first read to the left was the easy route. There's tight ends wide open right there on the dump off to the left. But he trusts McLaurin, which I loved in this play, going downfield to his normal receiver. He didn't care there was three guys in the area. He knew if he threw the seam route and it was a perfect ball, it was going to be open. And it was a perfect ball from Howell. So, yeah, this is one of my favorite plays of the weekend of a kid I'm looking to make that step, right? First-year starter, first road game. They're down 21-3. This kid leads them all the way back. And this is a big-time throw, Chad, in a big game.
So now we have to reimagine our assessment of Sam Howell, right? Remember at North Carolina, everyone thought this guy was a surefire #1 pick, and then he had sort of an iffy senior year, and he dropped down, and the Commanders got him in a later round. And then he started the end of last year. Rivera made him the #1 quarterback in training camp and announced it early, and people were genuinely enthusiastic about him. So now all of a sudden we've got Howell and the Commanders as 6.5-point dogs to Buffalo this coming Sunday at home. And so, we talked about this in the Favorites podcast. I loved Buffalo going in. You were so on it. You've been hearing things, but this play in particular, does it give you pause to make a bet on the Bills?
Yeah, this kind of play jumps out to me where he's making great reads. And if you watch this game against Denver, he was making smart runs. Like when he had to pull it down and get the first down, he was picking up. He's more athletic than people realize. So my favorite part of this film is just how he's moving in the pocket, keeping his head downfield, and then throwing a strike that we joke all the time. You either got it or you don't in the NFL. Like there's some guys who just don't have the confidence. Sam Darnold comes to mind, right? A guy who has all the talent. He just didn't have the arm and the confidence to go downfield. It's great seeing Sam go downfield here. Like these are the kind of things I'm looking for where that's how you win the NFL. You don't win the NFL dinking and dunking down the field, right? You need to eventually take shots, take risks. And this is kind of play I'm looking for out of Sam. So I love this tape here.
All right, Sam Howell. We like what he did in week 2. We're going to see what he does in week 3. I do want to remind people, we have the Favorites $100,000 pro football pick'em contest running with our friends from Bet365. Sign up season long. We're giving away $40,000 to the winner. Top 10 places get paid out. Also, there is a weekly contest, $3,000 in cash prizes given away each week, $1,500 to the winner. This past week, 10 people tied. They got $300 each. Paying for groceries, Simon. Keep signing up. In the season-long contest, your top 2 score, your worst 2 scores are going to get dropped after Thanksgiving. So even if you sign up after week 3, you're still in a good position. All right, Simon, for my play, I chose a Tennessee Titans Los Angeles Chargers game. We were on the Titans in this game. The Titans are a team that we love. Let me set up the play here, Hutton. If you want to get it to the beginning of the play, we can pause it right here. So right now, the Titans are down 3-0 with 2.5 minutes left at the end of the first quarter. They're at home against the Chargers. They were 3-point dogs when the game closed. Just before this, it's 3rd and 10. Just before this, Ryan Tannehill, who we have been skeptical about, maybe wrongly, had just thrown a pass over the middle. It was incomplete. It was over the head of DeAndre Hopkins. And then this happened. Hutton Jackson, our producer, let's run this. We can see one thing that we have been really worried about with the Tennessee Titans. And okay, stop it. So what happens there? Ryan Tannehill gets demolished by Joey Bosa. Hutton, let's continue it, because the next play, I think the next scene, right, is another angle on this play, right? So you can see Joey Bosa basically does a stunt, runs up the middle. And honest to God, Simon, I saw this play and I wrote, I'm afraid for Ryan Tannehill's life in this game, because this was still early in the game. And so I'm thinking to myself, I'm afraid for his life. And I'm also thinking to myself, we're going to lose this bet. And then what's interesting is over the rest of the game, Ryan Tannehill goes 20 of 24 in the game, and he destroys the Chargers secondary. And all of a sudden, the things that we love about Titans, right? Mike Vrabel, who in the past 20 years is the only coach who is over 500 when he is an underdog, right? He's straight up over 500 as an underdog. And we remember they've got a great defensive line with Jeffrey Simmons. The one issue they have is their offensive line. We had rated before the season began as one of the worst offensive lines in football. So for you, for me, how does this impact the way we think about betting the Titans when they're going to Cleveland and they're playing a defensive line that A, knows they need to be doing something great because their team is desperate, and B, is already a top 3 defensive line in the NFL? We got a team that we love in the Titans, a coach we love, going against a defensive line that also could really hurt Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I think people are seeing why that Browns line's 3.5 now. There's a reason that it hasn't dropped below 3. It went back up to 3.5, and it's just the O-line woes of Tennessee. The question here is, can Tennessee really hold up against that Browns pass rush? And, say what you want about the Browns. They brought in guys that help them stop the run as well. So that's a complete defense. They're the only team in the NFL, right, Chad, that hasn't let a team have a red zone possession.
No red zone possessions
Yeah.
for either of the opponents the Browns have played.
That's a crazy stat to think. And again, it's not like they had easy sledding, right? It was 2 divisional games. They went through the Bengals, then Pittsburgh, no red zone. So, looking at this matchup, Chad, we wanted to take Tennessee, and we did throw a little on Tennessee when they were 4.
Simon, hold on 1 sec. Hutton, pause it right here. So you see, I'm sorry about that, Simon, but that offensive line just parted like the Red Sea for Joey Moses Bosa to run right through to plant Ryan Tannehill in the chest. What are they going to do when it's Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith? Those guys are just as good as Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, and they couldn't handle it. And by the way, this started as a 4-man front. It's not like they were blitzing. It's not like there was a stunt, someone coming undiagnosed. It was just a guy on the front line, on the defensive line, who made a really good move, and they couldn't keep up with it.
Yeah, just bad communication too, where the tackle is supposed to explain to the guard, we'll pass off one guy to the other, and they both went after the same guy. So yeah, it is going to be one of those plays that, looking back on, if Tennessee can't produce in that game against the Browns, people are seeing why right here. It's just the offensive line has so many questions. Again, Tannehill got sacked 5 times. That's a lot to overcome. And I don't think they'll be as lucky against that Browns team.
All right, Simon, we've broken them down. We broke down Sam Howell and the Washington Commanders looking like a baller to make us a little bit nervous, at least me, a little bit nervous about the early 6 I took on the Buffalo Bills. We saw Ryan Tannehill getting demolished by Joey Bosa in a game that ultimately he came back and won. but also that offensive line is making us a little nervous about the +4 that we already bet on the Titans. We'll see how these games play out, how these lines change over the next few days. This has been the Favorites Film Room, YouTube only. I'm Chad Millman. He's Simon Hunter. We co-host the Favorites podcast. Until next week.